Hello everyone, and welcome to HSED 510. I'm Dr. Brooke Wells, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you all this semester. In this module, Module 1A, I'll do some introductions. So I'll introduce myself, tell you a little bit about who I am and how I approach this class. We'll talk about course content and the format of the course and the particularities of learning online. And then I'll talk a little bit about the tasks that are associated with Module 1. So I've asked you all to do introductions on the message board on Campus Cruiser, and I'll go through my introduction just to give you a little bit of a sense of what I'm looking for your introduction. As a quick overview, I'll ask you to tell me a little bit about yourself, your gender pronouns, and any other names that you go by. You can submit that privately if you would prefer. And I'll demonstrate what I mean by this fun fact in just a second. And then I'm also asking you to do this in the course survey, but I would like for you to post this on the message board as well, to tell me about your research interests and how you think research might fit into your career goals. So you'll post those in the introduction topic. So I'm going to switch over to the full screen mode now so I can do a little introduction of myself. I'll try and do some video check-ins throughout the course of the semester, as well as some more individual check-ins that I'll talk about in just a second. Because this course is online, I think it's really nice to have some FaceTime with you all and to be able to check in with you and get to know you a little bit as you move through the program here at Widener. So again, I'm Dr. Brooke Wells. I am one of the newer faculty members in this program. I was at Hunter College in New York before, and I got my degree in my PhD in social psychology at the Graduate Center of the City University of New York. And I've been doing HIV research for the last 14 years or so, and sexuality research for about that long. My research interests mostly focus on the connections between substance use and sexual behavior, largely in the context of HIV prevention work. I've also done, I just did a large study of people who go to sex parties all over the country, and we're working on getting that data out the door, which is super exciting for me. And I've done a variety of other kinds of research, looking at changes over time, based on national data sets, which has gotten probably the most media attention, which is both terrifying and exciting. Yeah, if you have any other questions about me or my research, feel free to post them. I'm happy to answer and talk ad nauseum about my research for those of you who are so inclined. As for a fun fact, the fun fact that I often share is that I love Abraham Lincoln. I'm originally from Springfield, Illinois, and so aside from corn, Abe Lincoln was about all that we had. And in addition to that, he was an amazing figure in our history. So I have lots of Lincoln jewelry. I have a floor laid entirely with pennies in my downstairs bathroom, and lots of Lincoln trivia trapped in my head. So if you have questions about Lincoln, I'm also happy to talk about him ad nauseum. So I will switch back over into full screen, and we'll talk a little bit about the course and course goals. So I'm going to switch back over now and move back over into PowerPoint. So that's basically the introductions. The course goals are listed in the syllabus in the course description. The basic course goals are to access, understand, synthesize, and critically evaluate empirical research related to human sexuality, to identify practical applications of empirical research in human sexuality, and to communicate in an academic and scholarly manner. For some of you, you may go on and conduct research, and for those of you who go on in the program here to get your PhD, you'll take 850 and 851. Which will address some of the more practical and applied elements of conducting your own research. In this course, though, we'll really focus on understanding, synthesizing, and evaluating empirical research and thinking about how to apply that research to your own practice, whether that be in education or therapy. And we'll also focus on communicating in academic formats, as that's something that you'll do in this program and potentially beyond. So those are my big picture goals for this course. For the course format, this is an online course, which I think for a lot of people, including professors, is terrifying. There are a lot of tricks that people use. If you look up online course survival, you'll see a lot of pointers and tips about surviving online courses. I would say probably the most important thing I can say to you is that you should be very organized. The next most important thing is to stay in touch with me. Don't forget about the class, don't forget about me, and I'll show you some tricks in Campus Cruiser that I try to use to help you stay connected. So in Campus Cruiser, I'll switch over to Campus Cruiser in just a second and talk a little bit about navigating through the course content. To give you a heads up, the modules will become available probably right before the modules are scheduled. I'll be tailoring the content a little bit, each module, to make sure that I'm addressing it in the way that is most accessible to you all. So I do try and tailor that a little bit for each module, and thus the modules will be posted as we go. I'll also ask that you post on the message board, and I'll show you how to navigate that in just a second. We'll also be using Google Hangouts. If you're not familiar with Google Hangouts, you should make yourself familiar with them. I'll also ask that you each check in with me individually twice over the course of the semester, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we go over the syllabus. In general, communicating with me is easiest via email. I am not in my office every day, though I do check email fairly frequently, or voicemail fairly frequently. Email I check often, all the time. I aim to respond to all emails in 72 hours. It could be a little bit longer if it's over the course of the weekend, but I am generally very good at communicating and emailing, and I really encourage you to take advantage of that. So I'm going to switch back over to Campus Cruiser and talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go over the syllabus. So I'm going to pop over here into Campus Cruiser. When you go into Campus Cruiser, you'll have your, you'll go into this screen that looks something like this. And when you click on your course, my classes should be listed here. When you click on this course, you'll come to this member welcome. And I have this set up in 3 columns. The first is an announcement column. And so I'll post things at the beginning of most weeks, giving you an update, checking in with you, sometimes posting a check-in video. Your course content will be here. Right now there's nothing here because this is the first video. Once this is uploaded, you'll have a little button up here that says Start Course, and you should be able to click on that and move through the course content. With every module, I'll put in each module what you need to do to complete that module with all of the information and content linked within that module. I also have over here the class schedule. And so the class schedule I try to be fairly detailed on. So you can go over here and expand this channel and you can see your whole calendar. This calendar tells you when things become available and when things are due. So if you come over here to August, we see that there are module reading responses that are available, but not due for a bit. So if you go over here to September, we see that the first thing due over here is this Module 1 reading response. I'll talk at the end of this module about introductions and course surveys, but in terms of points for the course, this is the first thing that is due. So that is the calendar. You can notice here that you can export this calendar. So for those of you who use iCal or Google Cal, you can export this and put all of these due dates and things into the calendar that you use. I can't give you technical assistance on that because I'm not terribly well versed in that. But if that's a useful tool for you, I do suggest that you use that. And you can always come back to the course homepage up here. I posted textbook information already about the textbook that we'll be using. This is the Salazar, Crosby, and DiClemente textbook, and I'll talk more about that in just a second, as well as the publication manual for APA. So you can come back here. The message board is always under class tools. I believe that looks the same for you. You can see under here I have some student tools, and you can also access course content here. But if you go into the class tools, the message board is here, and everything is listed under general discussion. So under general discussion, there are a variety of topics. These topics are listed here, and I usually put a little bit of description behind them. So introductions, that's the piece that I just mentioned, that I would like you to introduce yourself, tell me a bit about yourself, some fun fact, and your research interests, history, and aspirations. If you have any course and syllabus questions, post them here. And then these are the first, and actually the only two reading responses that are associated with modules 1 and 3. So I'll post other messages here. If you would like to start a topic, you're welcome to do that within here. There's also shared files, probably most of you are familiar with. So all of any additional readings, all of the assignments, any documents that we share with each other will be under shared files. The syllabus is uploaded under the syllabus. Any announcements you can also access via here, but they'll be on your homepage as well. And then you can also access assignments. And so all of the assignments are posted here. Not all of them are available yet, but they're all posted here. Typically under each of the assignments, I will have a document that you can look at that will tell you a little bit about what that assignment is. So if you go under research paper, topic proposal, I'll go into it under edit. Otherwise it's a little wonky for me. But you can download, and I have the topic grading rubric and the research paper assignment over here. So those are some of those tools. There are a bunch of tutorials on Campus Cruiser. I find them to largely be terrible and not all that useful. And I am still learning a lot about Campus Cruiser and learning how to navigate it. So be patient with me, and I will do my best to be patient with you as well. So that is Campus Cruiser, and that's a quick overview of that. I won't go into Google Hangouts. I think probably most of you know how to use Google Hangouts at this point, so I won't belabor that point, but let me know if you have any questions or need any help with that. And so now let's talk a little bit about the syllabus. I'll switch over here to the syllabus and run through it. All of my information is up here, the course description, the textbooks. This textbook is a new textbook that I'm using this year. I think it works well with the content for the other curriculum in this program. And the authors of this textbook are researchers who do a lot of research on HIV, sexuality, sexual health more broadly. And so a lot of the examples are very relevant for us, and I think they address things in a way that is particularly useful for sexuality researchers. There's also the APA publication manual, and if there are any other assigned or suggested readings, those will be in shared files on Campus Cruiser. So as I note here, this course is entirely online, and so this is online lectures, discussions, and assignments. I really strongly suggest that you post questions and thoughts in the discussion threads. If you need clarification, want to discuss a concept or a topic, and I very, very strongly urge you to take advantage of my office hours and sort of general availability. And in fact, I do make those individual meetings part of your grade to really encourage you to do that. If you have questions that are specific to your situation, drop me an email. As I said before, I try and respond within 72 hours, though it's often more quickly, but over the weekend it may be a bit more slow. So for this course, the assignments for the course will be a research paper. This assignment is broken up into 3 different assignments that will build on one another to get you to a final research paper that is a structured literature review. I'll talk more about that in a second. I'll also ask you to analyze and evaluate 2 research articles. The first I will assign to you, and I will give you a series of questions that you'll answer to evaluate that article. The second one is an article that you will choose and also answer a series of questions that I will assign to you. There will be 2 quizzes. The first is coming up very soon, is on APA format, and the second will be on the course content in modules 3 through 6. Those quizzes will be on Campus Cruiser. There are 2 mandatory course meetings, as I mentioned a second ago, so I'll schedule 2 meetings during which I'd like you to join me via Google Hangouts or phone or in person, your preference, so that I can check in with you on your course progress and get to know you a little bit. Each of those meetings is worth 2% of your course grade. You don't need to prepare anything other than any questions you might have about the course material. I've scheduled these such that they come after I give you feedback on assignments so that we can talk about those in those meetings. During modules 1 and 3, I'll also ask you to post your reading responses on the message board, and I've provided some prompts and a general sense of grading. I actually don't have a grading rubric, but a general sense of how I will grade those. And those are worth 1% total. So those are a very small percentage of your grade. But if you do the readings and post, they're fairly easy points. So some general course policies. This is an interactive, participatory, experiential learning course. You're expected to complete everything and to participate. You're expected to be nice. Please don't be a jerk. Please participate in class. The one additional thing that I will say is that it's sometimes difficult to convey tone in the online medium and posts and emails. So if you think that might be an issue for you, reread your posts, emails, etc., and think about how they might be interpreted by other people. And at the same time, extend that same courtesy to others by assuming the most charitable light possible when you read other people's comments and emails. Academic integrity and plagiarism, I shouldn't have to say this, but if I find out that you are cheating, if there's any portion of your work that is plagiarized, or any other form of academic fraud, I will do my very best to ruin you. I take this very, very seriously. I will make all the settings in Campus Cruiser such that you can look at your Turnitin report and see if there's any overlap. A word of warning about that, you will often get some level of overlap, and that might be for citations, for things that you actually put quotes around. So just be aware of that and look through that report. For late assignments, it's entirely up to me whether I accept any late assignments and how many points I will deduct from the score for a late submission. You can request an extension for an assignment by contacting me. And so contact me with plenty of time before the deadline. So not the night before, not the moment the assignment is due. In general, being busy with other work and failing to plan your time accordingly is not a reason that I will grant an extension. So 2 rules of thumb, have a pretty good reason and communicate with me well ahead of the deadline. An incomplete is also up to me to decide whether I will give you an incomplete. And so if you find yourself in that situation, we should communicate well in advance. This is a standard statement on all syllabi. In accordance with Americans with Disabilities Act, you have the right to request a variety of accommodations, and those all go through academic support services, and that contact information is there. If you need any help via the library, we have an amazing reference librarian, Molly Wolf. And so she's done a lot of work to try and support our program. And if you need help, I would definitely see her. The Writing Center is also a really useful resource if you need help with APA formatting, sort of general writing. Their website also has links to writing resources, and if you do not live here, you can make an appointment for a phone consultation. For some of you, as I read your work, I may suggest strongly that you see somebody in the Writing Center. So their contact information is here if you should need that. So the next thing in the syllabus is our schedule for the semester. And so I won't go over that all that terribly much, but I will go over sort of the general sense of it. I've broken this up into modules, and some of the modules have a couple of different weeks in them. One module has 5 weeks in it. Our first module is really this introduction, an introduction to research module. So this week is module 1A, which you see right here. And I'll talk in a moment about the tasks associated with this week. Module 1B is the second week, and this is really an introduction to research and the research process. You'll read chapters 1 and 2 in the textbook. You'll read these 2 short news articles and then a responding blog post about that first news article. And then this is a podcast, and I would like you to listen to the prologue and Act 1 of this particular This American Life episode. And then you'll post to the message board after that. And then we'll do a second module that's about literature review and using APA format. In the third module, we'll talk about ethical and political issues. This fourth module is really the meat of our semester. We'll talk about a variety of aspects of research design, and then we'll move on and talk a little bit about community-based participatory research and program evaluation, which are topics that you all may find yourself dealing with as you move forward in your careers. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about data analysis, though the expectations for you doing your own data analysis are non-existent, so don't stress when you see data analysis there. And then we'll have sort of a week to take a pause. I'll grade your draft of your research paper, your literature review. We'll have some meetings. We'll sum up with a quick reading and quick lecture about translating research to practice, and then you'll have that last week to make your revisions to your research paper, your literature review. So there we are in December already. So that is the syllabus overview. For Module 1, you'll introduce yourself, you'll complete the course survey, and you'll post any syllabus or course questions that you might have. I will also be posting separate videos wherein I'll be talking about the different assignments. So I'll post one for the research paper very shortly, and that will talk in much more detail about that research paper assignment and what I expect from that, and guide you around some of the documentation for that. So for Module 1A, introduce yourself, complete the course survey, post any questions you might have, and in general, let me know if you have any questions, if you have any needs, please let me know. But as I said, I look forward to getting to know you all this semester, and I hope you all enjoyed your summer break, if you had one.